Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group on YouTube. Today we are going to be continuing our WCW Monday Nitro episode reviews, and we're in at episode number 3. So that took place on the 18th of September 1995. Now I struggled with this one because I've gone through and watched the first 2 episodes on the WWE Network. So naturally I just went to the 3rd episode, put it on, played it, and I started watching it and I started doing my review and writing my notes as I do, so I've got something to relate back to as I'm obviously doing the videos. And I was like, none of this is making any sense. So anyway, I goes off it and I looked it up online. It turns out that for some reason, I don't know why, but the 3rd episode of Nitro, which is obviously the one I'm doing now, isn't actually on the WWE Network. So I'd clicked on episode 4 and had started watching that, which is why it made no sense. So I don't understand why it's not on WWE Network, but anyway, I managed to find it via Daily Motion and watch it that way instead. So it starts with the Giant and the Taskmaster. They arrive via an ambulance because at Fall Brawl, you had the Giant, obviously he attacked Hulk Hogan, choked him out, and Hogan allegedly left via an ambulance, so obviously they have to then turn up via an ambulance. Both get out the back with Mean Gene, and the Giant continues to cut an absolute terrible promo. Talks really soft and quiet, and it's all a bit weird and strange, and it was just awful. Really poor way to start the show, to be honest. So the first match of the night is supposed to be the American males versus the Blue Bloods. But as the Blue Bloods are coming out, so the American males come down first, they're in the ring. As the Blue Bloods come down, they are attacked by Harlem Heat, the WCW champions, WCW Tag Team champions, which is obviously Booker T and Stevie Ray. And they get into the ring and they say, we attacked the Blue Bloods because they shouldn't be on Nitro. We should be. We are the tag champs, and we are going to give you a chance at the tag team titles. So great tag match for the tag belts instead of just a normal tag team match. Plus Harlem Heat is one of my absolute favourite tag teams in WCW, so I'm all up for watching them wrestle in a match. So it starts off like the bell rings straight away, so the title match is underway. The American males hit a double drop kick on Stevie Ray, straight out the gate, trying to obviously fast pace, try and get one up over the tag team champs. But the tag team, basically Harlem Heat, then start to dominate the match. They make a lot of quick tags in and out. Booker T hits his axe kick on Riggs, and they try to keep Riggs away from getting the tag on Bagwell. So they try and obviously keep him out of the ring. They hit him with some big moves, like say like the axe kick. He hits the high heel kick that he does as well. Gets a 2 count. Tags in with Stevie, and they're constantly tagging in and out. Obviously trying to keep Riggs away from Bagwell. Anyway, he finally manages to tag in Bagwell, and he does the what do they call it, the hot tag. The face tag comes in, starts like getting dead rowdy and stuff. Anyway, the Colonel then comes down, distracts Harlem Heat, and Bagwell gets a sneaky win, and we have new WCW Tag Team Champions in the very first match on Nitro, a match that wasn't even advertised. The crowd goes insane, because it's something that no one was expecting to happen. And like I say, Harlem Heat were obviously the bad guys, and obviously the the new tag team champions were crowned in 4 minutes 40 seconds. So obviously, like I said in the previous 2 videos, this was back when WCW Nitro was only an hour long. So on TV, you're talking 45-50 minutes, because obviously they have the adverts and the breaks. So all the matches are quite short, because they have 3 to 4 matches each week. So a tag team title match at 4 minutes 40 seconds, to be honest with you, it sounds like just a normal Monday Night Raw, doesn't it, really? But yeah, so straight off, first match, it was a match that wasn't even advertised in the end. You know, and we get new tag team champions, so you get belts put on the line that weren't advertised. So I mean, straight away the fans are fired up. You know what I mean? So it was decent. It was good. Obviously, I wasn't a fan of Harlem Heat dropping the belts, but like any chance to get to see them to wrestle, I enjoy it. I did really enjoy Harlem Heat in WCW. Then we go to Mean Gene Oakland doing a WCW hotline advert. We advertises the WCW hotline where you can call in during the show. And it's like bloody hell, like the difference now in what the world is now, not even just wrestling, what the world is now. Like, you used to do phone ins and stuff, and it's like, I always remember in the back of magazines and that, and they used to have, like, you know, the phone numbers to phone in, or to order pay-per-views, phone this number, or like if you wanted the next issue to phone this number, or for figures and belts and stuff, you had to do it all via phone ins at one point if you wanted to order stuff. And so just saying that was just like, wow, like, I think because it was Daily Motion as well, they didn't cut any of the adverts and stuff out. Whereas obviously on WWE Network, there's select ones that'll stay in, but obviously not all of them. So obviously seeing this was like, it was a mind blower. It was like, because obviously back in 1995, you know, this is the way that the world was then. But it's not like that now. Everything's obviously online. It's so much easier. A couple of clicks on your phone, and you get everything that you want. But you know, back in the day, it was like, oh yeah, phone up and speak to, you know, the talent, or well, not the talent, but you know what I mean. You speak to someone to do WCW and that. So that was nuts. Then it goes on to Macho Man Slim Jim advert, which is just always good fun. Like, I always say, like, one of my top figures. I had the top three figures when I started collecting wrestling figures a few years back. I've got two of them, and the only one that I'm still on the look for is that. Was it the just San Diego exclusive, the Mattel Elite Slim Jim Macho Man figure. So like these promos and adverts and stuff always get me. I do enjoy them, and obviously they used to have the Slim Jim Macho Man bust, didn't he? Wearing his hat was open at the top, and they had all the Slim Jims, and they had them in the shops and stuff. And people collect them. I still see people putting them up online now, and if you have a look, the prices are really expensive online. But never mind, that was good. And we have Ric Flair being interviewed with Mean Gene in the ring. Flair says Arn Anderson broke the code. Obviously, on Fall Brawl, Arn Anderson defeated Ric Flair for some help from Brian Pillman. So Flair says that he broke the code by bringing someone from the outside into their business, and obviously goes on to then continue to advertise the main event, which is Ric Flair versus Flying Brian Pillman. Crowd loves that. They always love Ric Flair, don't they? Any Ric Flair promos and stuff, you know, you got all the woos and stuff that the crowd loves so much. But yeah, the crowds are really into it. So you're going from straight away the well into the tag team title change, then obviously they're into the Ric Flair promo. Then we get Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff versus Johnny B. Bad. So Orndorff goes straight on the attack as soon as the match starts, drop kicks Johnny B. Bad in the kneecap, and then starts stomping him, literally stomping him all the way around the ring, gets him into the corner, you know, starts stomping on him and that, and then the refs obviously trying to get him off, get him out of the corner, and then they go face to face and start like giving it beans, and then that's when Johnny B. Bad then comes in and starts trying to take control of the match. Johnny goes for the top rope, Orndorff reverses it. Orndorff jumps off the top rope, but then Johnny then rolls out the way. So like it's like tit for tat at this point. You know, he then obviously goes off, jumps off, ends up face planting the mat, which then turns the tide for Johnny to start trying to take control on Orndorff. Drops him outside the ring, and then he jumps on him from inside the ring onto the outside. Johnny hits the double axe handle off the top rope for the 2 count, and then obviously Orndorff reverses a move that Johnny Bad goes to obviously pick him up. He reverses it, ends up sitting on him with his legs up, you know, obviously for the pin, and gets the pinfall victory in 6 minutes 40 seconds. Not as good as the first one. Obviously Paul Orndorff's going to what they were saying on the commentary is the new version of Mr. Wonderful, the new version. So obviously he gets a nice victory to kick off his new version. But to be honest with you, I mean, again, it's a short match, longer than the last one, but it wasn't as good. Probably because there was no, shock finish, like it was with the first match. We get a clip from Taskmaster. I always struggle with saying that. Attacking Macho Man on the set of Baywatch of all things. Macho Man's doing some weights on the set of Baywatch, and the Taskmaster attacks him. Macho Man then comes to the ring and he's got Mean Gene with him and turns around and says, because Ric Flair made the save on the set of Baywatch, so he turns around and says, Ric Flair, thanks, but no thanks, I don't need your help. So it's like, right, okay, this dude's just saved you and you're already just like dismissing him. He then goes on to say that Hulk Hogan has a really bad choice in people. He has a bad character choice, because obviously he brought Lex Luger into the War Games match at 4 Brawl, and he says he's a bad judge character, because obviously in the match Lex Luger accidentally hits Macho Man, and Macho Man sees it as being a cheap shot on him, and it was intentional. So he then obviously goes off on the fact that, Lex is a bad guy. So Lex Luger obviously then comes down to the ring. They have heated words. Macho Man wants a match that night. Then and there, he starts taking the jacket off. He's like, let's do it. And then you have Mean Gene, which made me absolutely laugh. Mean Gene then turns around and goes, no, this isn't the time or the place for this. It's like, right, okay, what? The time? Monday Nitro. The place? In the centre of a ring. They literally both stood in a ring on Nitro, but it's not the time or place. I was like, oh my God. Then it cuts away to an advert, and then when it comes back, they're obviously, they're like, oh yeah, they've cleared the ring, but then they're talking about what happened, and apparently there was an exchange of slaps between them, but we don't get any clips or showing of these so-called slaps that happened between the two of them, and neither one of them were backing down. But so the actual slight part of like a little bit of action that was actually involved in this, we didn't actually see because it wasn't on TV. We get a clip of Hulk Hogan arriving at 4 Brawl the night before. He arrives on his motorcycle. There's loads of kids and fans around screaming and cheering for him. He turns up on his motorbike and he's there with Mean Gene. He's like, I'll tell you something, brother. It's same old Hogan spiel as usual. And then all of a sudden we hear this, it's like, what the hell's that? And the next thing is this big massive monster truck comes flying down the road like a big beast. Monster truck comes absolutely flying down. You see like an air shot and you see them all scattered out the way, and Hogan literally legs it off the bike, and it's revealed the Giant is in the monster truck, and then he repeatedly goes back and forth squashing Hogan's bike, and then he stops and obviously leans out the window, and Hogan's then slapping and banging on the door, going, wow, what are you doing, and all this, and Giant's just doing this mad psycho laugh. He's leaning out proper laughing in his face. It's so weird. It's just, again, another strange spot. I mean, I'm so glad that obviously the Giant turned into the Big Show and he became a lot better than what he was, because obviously in 1995 when he was the Giant in WCW, it was quite a hard watch in regards to, like, I mean, he's never been brilliant at promos, but just a hard watch in general anyway. So yeah, we then see a clip from when the Giant then come down during the War Games match. Obviously attacks Hulk Hogan, chokes him, starts choking him down, and then he does that neck twisting, which obviously is what caused Hogan to apparently leave in an ambulance. The main event is Flying Brian Pillman versus Ric Flair, and Ric Flair starts really hot, goes straight after him. The match ends up going outside. Ric Flair climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumps off with a double axe handle, which connects. He then leans Pillman up against the guardrail and starts chopping the hell out of his chest. Then they go back in the ring. He goes for the second it's mad seeing Ric Flair like for years on Raw afterwards. From obviously when I was growing up, it was around like 2000. Well, say it was around 2000, but like that's when like well, to be fair, I watched WCW, but I don't remember a lot of what I watched unless I've gone back and rewatched it. So a lot of Flair stuff that I've seen that I remember because I was older was obviously when he just kept getting lobbed off the top turnbuckle. So when he actually connects, and he spends most of his time in this match just repeatedly keep going up to the turnbuckle. Like obviously he connects with that double axe handle onto the outside, and then he goes up for the second one and gets the flicked off. Like say for years we've seen him do on Raw, like part of Evolution and stuff like that. So yeah, he gets reversed. The match goes back to the outside as Flair turns the match back in his favour, dropping Pillman onto the guardrail. And then back in the ring, Flair goes back up to the turnbuckle yet again for a third double axe handle. Pillman throws him off. Pillman then reverses the figure four into a small package, gets a 2 count, and then Ric Flair manages then to lock in the figure four and gets the tap out victory. And that match lasts 5 minutes 42 seconds. So the first match is 4 minutes 40, the second match is 6 minutes 40, and then the third match, which is the main event in the end, is 5 minutes 42. And then at the end of it, we have Ric Flair calling out Arn Anderson for a match, saying basically either this week or next week he's going to find him and he's going to kick his ass. And that is how WCW Nitro episode 3 ends. Enjoyable, yeah, pretty much. Some parts were just a bit cringy, like say most of the parts that involved the Giants unfortunately were cringy. The matches weren't great, you know, a couple of minutes each. But obviously it's all about continuing the storyline, and obviously like say because it's the early doors and they only had an hour TV and like basically 45-50 minutes when you're watching it back, you know, there's not a lot of time for them to do stuff, especially if they're throwing in quite a few like flashback clips and stuff from like Fall Brawl beforehand. So I mean, was it as good as the other 2 episodes? I'm saying no. I'd say this is the lowest I'd rate out of the 3 episodes so far. You know, it was a good first match. Like say, we got a tag team title match that we weren't expecting. The second match was all right. Third match was okay as well. And then all the filler stuff in between, like say, there's 2 clips from the pay per view beforehand, and you know the terrible promo at the very beginning from the Giants. So I mean, overall, I'd probably rate this right 9 out of 10. As I have with the others, I'd probably rate this maybe 5.5 out of 10. It's not good enough to be a 6, but I don't think it's bad enough to be a 5 because we've still got 3 half decent matches, should we say. So that is my official rating for WCW Nitro episode 3 is 5.5 out of 10. So let me know in the comment section if you remember watching this one, or let me know, obviously, if you're watching along, as I know some people are doing, is obviously when I put these videos up, they'll go and watch it and then watch my review. So if you're doing that, let me know in the comments for me, and let me know what you rate this episode of Monday Nitro. I've gone for 5.5 out of 10. So there we have it, and as long as I keep getting decent views on this, we will keep going on this little trip down memory lane with the early days of WCW Monday Nitro. So as always, thank you for watching, and keep an eye out for more wrestling related content coming your way very soon.